It's a new month, beginning of August, and so with a new month comes a new theme. The theme that you chose was marriage and family, and I'm calling it building a God-centered home. So each message during this month will take a page from that theme. And if I were going to do that, I would say this is foundational. Every home, every house begins with a foundation. You don't start in the rafters. You start in the dirt. And I believe this is where dirt is. In Joshua chapter 24, we're at the end, not just of the book of Joshua, but of Joshua's life. And if you'll recall, Joshua was Moses' right-hand man, who then took over for Moses after Moses died. And it was his job to lead the people over the Jordan River, because Moses was not allowed to go into the Promised Land. And he did that. And he defeated the city of Jericho, and Ai, and the battle of 5 kings, and he killed giants, and he did exactly what God wanted him to do. And at the end of his life, in chapters 23 and 24, it's a long, extended monologue almost of Joshua speaking to the people of Israel, an old man pouring his heart out one last time. And in verses 14 and 15, we reach the apex, the pinnacle of his speech, and this is what he says. Now, therefore, fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and faithfulness. Put away the gods that your fathers served beyond the river, it means the Euphrates River, and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. And if it is evil in your eyes to serve the Lord, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the gods your fathers served in the region beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I told you last week, I did the coffee mug thing. I told you that when I got that mug, I had to do something before I could put that mug in my cupboard. What was it? Anybody remember? Not you. You know the rules. I had to do what? I had to get rid of another mug. Yeah, I gotta wash it. Okay. Yeah, I gotta wash it first. But I also have to get rid of a mug. There's literally no room in the coffee mug cupboard. We're kind of a collector. You know, some people collect stamps. Others collect things. I like to collect coffee mugs. So we went to Utah, I got a mug. I go to the Wilds, I get a mug. We went to go see David and Branson, I got a mug. When I get a mug, I gotta take a mug out. Because there's just no space. There's literally, there's no space for the 2 mugs. Maybe you ever, anybody here do spring cleaning, fall cleaning? You start going through the closets, and you say to yourself, I haven't worn this in 2 years. Why do I have it here? Or maybe you want to go shopping. I guess this is more for the ladies, but you want to go shopping, and you go to the mall and you bring home 2, 3, 10 bags, however many bags of stuff that you've got at the mall. And you go to put it away, and you say, where am I going to put this stuff? And so then you got to start making hard decisions. Unless you become a pack rat, which some of you probably have a PhD in that, but you got to get rid of stuff. All right, I haven't worn this in 2 years. I'm getting rid of it. Or this is the I'm going to lose weight stash, but that probably will never happen, so I'm getting rid of it. You just got to make these decisions. There's not physically the room for both things. You got to clean out your closet. Well, I've titled this message, Clean Out Your Closet, because I think what Joshua is getting at in this passage is that there are lots of people that are in the people of God. I mean, he's not addressing the Amorites here, right? He's not addressing the Canaanites. He's addressing God's people, the people that came over the river, the people that killed the bad guys in Jericho and watched the walls come tumbling down, the people that walked over the Jordan and saw it dry up, the people that watched the sun and the moon stand still for 12, 24 hours. They saw some amazing miracles. He's talking to those people, and he says, you're still trying to hold on to God and the other gods. Look at what he says. Verse 14. Put away the gods that your fathers served. You might say, Pastor, that's confusing to me. I thought that they put away those gods. I thought that when Moses came down from Mount Sinai and he destroyed the golden calf, that was the end of it. But it wasn't. I won't make you turn there, but in Genesis chapter 31, there's a really interesting story when Jacob says, who is now named Israel. Actually, no, he's not named Israel yet. He's still Jacob. He's leaving his uncle's house, Laban, and he's got 2 wives now. Remember, not one, because Laban tricked him. And he's got all these grandkids, and he's got servants, and he's got stuff. The Lord has just blessed his socks off. And he says, Laban, I'm leaving. And so he kind of up and leaves in the middle of the night. He doesn't tell his uncle he's, splitting. And Laban starts to chase him. Because he says, I need to give you a proper goodbye. But he has, as a pretext for chasing them, the fact that somebody stole some household gods. And these, if you're wondering what those were, they were just little figurines. Probably some of them this big. We would call them knickknacks, maybe. But they worshiped them or prayed to them. And, God says you're not to have these in your house. And so, I'm not saying you got to clean out your knickknacks, but if you have household gods, you do. When I lived in Florence, I visited a Buddhist couple across the street from the church. I was doing some door-to-door, and they had items in their house. I thought, whoa, first time, it kind of felt weird being in there, So Laban goes and, it's all a big to-do, and Rachel acts like she can't get up, like she's on her menstrual cycle. But she had stolen those little idols. She kept them in her bags. This is a woman of God. Well, that was a practice that the people of Israel held on to for years and years and years. Some of them still had. Some of those, they kept making them year after year after year. And he says, these are the gods that your fathers served beyond the river. He's talking about Abraham's parents and grandparents. They were idolaters. If you're wondering, there was a god that they worshipped called Nana. Everybody say Nana. The moon god. Which, by the way, if you look at the symbol for Nana, the moon god, it looks just like another major religion's symbol for the moon. Do you know which religion I'm talking about? Islam. This god eventually became predominant in that part of the world. We're talking about the area where Islam sprang out of the ground. Islam eventually took over this moon god named Nana, and he became Allah later. They worshipped Ishtar, the goddess of love and war. They worshipped gods like Marduk, Babylon's chief god. But he also says, put away the gods that your father served beyond the river. And then he says, and where else? In Egypt. You would have thought that they would have put those gods away a long time before that. They saw God clean those gods' clocks in the 10 plagues. Remember that? The 10 plagues were not just pulled out of thin air where God said, oh, what can I do to them today? Did you know that the first tribulation, the first plague, was turning the river into what? blood. That specifically targeted Hapi, the god of the Nile River. The second plague was what? Something came out of the river. They didn't like all that blood. Frogs. That specifically targeted Heket, the frog-headed goddess. The third was turning dust, the actual ground itself, into lice or gnats. And that specifically attacked Geb, the god of the earth. I'll skip ahead. The ninth plague was 3 days of what? Absolute, utter darkness that could be felt, it said. Who was Egypt's chief god? Ra, the sun god. And then, of course, who was it that stood and defied God to his face and his servant Moses, and he said, I am God? Pharaoh. And what did he do to Pharaoh? He killed his son. And all of Egypt's sons, firstborn. These are gods that were humbled by the Almighty. And yet some people in Israel just couldn't let them go. I think there's a lesson in there for you and me. We need to clean out our closet. We need to name, listen to me, we need to name the old gods that still hold up space in your heart. You need to identify the old gods that compete with God in your heart and therefore in the heart of your family. You know, everything that you do affects your family. You know that, right? Especially if you have kids. Some of you say, I'm by myself, I live alone. Okay. This message is for everybody. You might be single. You might be married, no children. You might be married with children. You might be single with children. There's a lot of different variations in the house of the Lord. But the very first thing that's foundational is that we need to name the old gods that we used to worship before we came to Christ. Let me ask you a very basic question. Are you different today than you were before you got saved? You should be. You better be. If you're not, that's a more difficult conversation to have. God says that when we come to Him in faith, He changes us. Now, that doesn't mean that we become perfect. We still struggle with these old gods. We struggle to let them go. Maybe in old relationships that drag you down. You might say, Pastor, I just can't do it. I know there are some relationships, some friendships, some relationships that I need to divorce myself from. I need to get out of. They are dragging me away from Christ, not to Christ, and I just can't do it. Abraham did it, did he not? He left everybody, except for Lot. He said, Lord, I'm going to follow you. Moses he was sitting in the lap of luxury, and he left it all behind to follow God, to be a shepherd in the wilderness. Ruth did not take the easy path. She could have followed her sister Orpah back to Moab. She said, I'm going to follow the God of Israel instead. I'm going to follow the true God. And some of you today realize I have a choice in my hand. If I really want to get down into the dirt, to the foundation of why my relationship isn't right with God, it's because I'm holding on to some old gods. Maybe an old relationship. Maybe some old habits. Some habits need to go. Say that a little bit louder for those in the back. Some habits have got to go. Some of you are doing things and you're sucked into a lifestyle that is not befitting a Christian, and you know it, and it's just time to grow up. Maybe they don't need to go, but they need to be reordered in order to make room for communion with God. I talked about this a couple of months ago with the smartphones. I haven't. Guys, I'm struggling like you. I am trying. I said then that I'm going to start charging this little beast in a different room at night. Well, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. The reason I made that decision is because I didn't want the first thing I do in the morning to be playing a game or checking Twitter or whatever. Then 30 minutes are gone. Like, what am I doing with my time? Those first moments, I'm not saying this is wrong, but we need to take our habits, some good, some bad that need to be discarded entirely, some good that need to be reordered to make room for God. You know, when it comes to cleaning out your closet, you don't always have to throw everything away, right? You can reorganize. Years ago, Natalie and I, when we were living in Florence, we bought this, what was that thing you attached to the wall? And it was supposed to be a closet reorganizer, and I guess it did. It did what it was supposed to do. We didn't throw anything away. We just said, this stuff that was here is going over here now. Maybe I need to buy one of those things for my shoes and put my shoes here and here. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Reorganize your closet. Joshua told Israel to throw away the gods. Jesus said it this way: you can't serve God and mammon. And you can put anything in there. You can't serve God and X. You can't serve God and this. Idols are anything that are stealing your family's heart from God. And it doesn't just affect you, it affects your kids. Number one, clear out your idols. Name the old gods. Number two, choose God daily. Commit to faithful change. Any major change starts with a choice. Almost always. Sometimes you're thrust into change and you have no choice in the matter. I think like Pearl Harbor, maybe. That's a good example of, okay, well, we don't have much choice. We're into this now. But most of the time, when you decide, hey, it is time for a change, whether it's be losing weight or a different job, or I'm going to change our family dynamic at the house. Those things don't happen automatically. They don't happen on accident. They happen when you say, this is the change I need to make, and here's how I'm going to make it. That's the only way it happens. And for all of us, we need to make changes, and some of us need to make major changes, starting with a daily choice to serve God over these other idols that are magnets in our home. Joshua said it this way: choose this day whom you will serve. You got to make a choice. You're going to serve yourself, your own pleasures, your own habits, or are you going to say, you know what? God is the ruler in my heart. I'm going to serve Him. How could you do that? I'm not saying you have to move mountains. Start small. I'm a big believer in little victories. Not letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. Get small W's. Choose one faith habit. Let's say in your home right now, you don't talk good to each other. You're mean to each other. You say things that you regret 3 seconds later. Well, we've all been there, have we not? You say, you know what? I am going to make a purposeful decision to change that dynamic. How does it start? Well, first, Paul's put on scriptures are key here. I got to stop doing something, but I can't just stop doing something, because if I just focused on not doing it, it'll never get done. This is the problem with negative motivation. If I say, stop doing that, stop going to sleep, it'll get your attention for about 30 seconds, and then you're going back to sleep. Stop leaving the door closed. on the floor. Stop leaving dirty dishes in the dishwasher, in the sink. You got to give them something positive to replace it with. Stop leaving your socks on the floor. Instead, Junior, put them in the laundry basket. I'll even show you where it is. It's right over here, son. See this? See this white thing standing up here in the corner of your room? That's your laundry basket. That's when your dirty clothes. I'm going to help you today. Tomorrow, I expect you to do it by yourself. Stop leaving your room dirty can become, I need you to make your bed every morning. I need you to tidy up every day. Stop being lazy can become, I need you to do your homework every day. Now, I'm giving you sanitized versions. There are some things we can say that are much worse than each other, much worse than that, being sarcastic with each other. Choose a faith habit. Maybe you say, we just don't have a sweet spirit in our home right now. You know what you could do? You could say, we're going to pray together every night. Or whenever you have time, we're going to pray together every morning until things improve around here. That sounds very military, doesn't it? We're going to pray together until things get better around here. You hear me? Now, you don't say it like that. You got to stop a bad action and start another one. I brought a little object lesson up here. These are two little glass jars. Nothing special about them. This jar represents bad habits. Habits that get you in trouble at home. Laziness, foul mouth, cursing at each other, being mean to each other, undercutting one another's authority. You name it, whatever you struggle with. This one right here represents good habits. Loving each other, speaking the truth, serving one another. The goal is to get these out. Fill this one up. You want this jar to be as full as it can be. You want this jar to be full, not of bad habits, but of good. And you want this one to be empty. Nobody wants to have a bad marriage, do they? Nobody wants to have kids that are unruly. Nobody wants, Christians don't want to be defeated in their walk with Christ. Guys, it's not going to happen until you choose to do so. Choose today. It's the only day you got. Choose today who you're going to serve. You're going to be yourself? Or are you going to be God? Here's some examples. I'm not telling you to do this. These are examples you can implement in your home. You be creative. We will memorize the Lord's Prayer and say it together at dinner. We will recite 1 Corinthians 10:31 at the dinner table. Whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do, do all to the glory of God. We will learn and sing a hymn at dinner. Some of you all are like, oh, you've never heard me sing. It's okay. Your kids, they'll love it. We will read one chapter of the Bible every day, or at least as often as we can. We will tithe 10%, or at least something of our income. Did y'all know that tithing is a spiritual practice that reflects your heart towards God? Did you know that? I don't believe that the Bible teaches 10% is what you have to do. That was true for the Old Testament people. It's not true for New Testament people. You know what it does teach? You should give generously. And you should give sacrificially. Some of you can give 10% and it's no sacrifice at all. You should be giving more. I say that with all the love in my heart to you. You should be. And I say that not knowing who gives what. Do I know who gives what, Miss Carol? Not a thing. Some of you could give 2% and it is dragging your resources down to nothing. That's good. I'm not saying it's good that you have nothing. I'm saying if 2% represents a sacrifice on your part, then give 2%. If 5% is a sacrifice for you, then give 5%. If 20% is not a sacrifice for you, it's not enough. How are your children going to learn to tithe if you don't tithe? Maybe it's not important to you. But this is foundational stuff, guys. We got to decide who we're going to serve today. We need to clear out. We need to name the old gods that clutch at your heart. Name them. Identify them. Commit to faithful change. Choose God daily. And number 3, courageously lead. And this is the part that might get me in trouble, but I'm going to go here anyway. Have the courage to lead your family in faith, making God the king of your home. Oh, can we put verse 14? No. Yeah. The end of verse 15. Who's speaking? Louder. Who's speaking? Joshua is speaking. Did he ask his wife his opinion first? Did he get his kids up there and say, children, we're going to have a vote on whether or not we're going to serve the Lord? He did not. Joshua, God's man in the house, decided, we're going to serve the Lord. Y'all better get on board. This is a battle I'm willing to fight at home. Nobody got a vote. It was, this is how it's going to be. There's a meme online. Y'all know what memes are? There's a meme online that asks the question, what's a modern psyop so accepted we don't even realize it's a psyop? And then people give all kind of funny answers. Here's one. Happy wife, happy life. It's so accepted, we think it's in the book of Matthew or something. God did not say that, guys. If mom ain't happy, how's it go? And, we say it with a chuckle, but we mean it. It's a psyop, and I'm going to say this in love. It is a tool of Satan to keep men from really leading. That's what it is. Pastor, what if they don't like it? I'd say plan on that. It's called leadership, not likership. You want to know more about this? Come in 2 weeks, where we're going to talk about the next phase of the building, which is the husband and wife relationship. I would encourage each man that has a wife and children, and each person, and irrelevant to your relationship with other people, to say this: in our home, we will love God first, then each other. Sometimes we let love for other people keep us from loving God. I told my kids, I sat them down last night, and the older 3 were at camp this week, and tell you what, it's a different dynamic at home when 3 of them are gone. It feels different. But it gave me an opportunity to kind of slow down and think about our family culture. And I sat them down last night and I said, guys, there are some things we need to change. I'm not telling you what they are yet, because I haven't decided all of them yet. But it's not because I don't love you, it's because I love God. Because I love God, and then you, we have to change some things. And I want you to know that when we make these changes, it's not because I don't like you, it's because I love God. And they all smiled and went away because I didn't tell them what the changes were yet. In our home, we'll love God first, then each other. Putting God first means making some changes, and though it might feel tough, it shows our love for Him above all. We need to have that attitude. Sometimes, in conclusion, sometimes your family needs a reboot. You ever call the place, the tech people? I can't get online. What's the first thing they always say? Did you unplug and plug back in your modem, your router. Yeah. Like 10 years ago, I figured out how to do that. But they always start with that. They say, do it. I would say this, and I have done this in my home, and I would recommend you doing it. Some of you might say, I don't even know where to begin with this kind of change. Here's a place you can begin. You can get your brood together, however many there are. Family meeting stop, and issue a formal apology. I have apologized to my family before for the way I've acted. That's not weakness. That's just humility, which God calls us all to. And not just for the way that I've acted, but for not leading them in the way that I should. You know, anytime we wrong somebody, that's where we start. We apologize. Maybe some of you dads need to apologize and just say, you know what? Things haven't been going the way around here that they should, but that's going to change. And we're not going to be perfect, but we're not going to be perfect together. Let's go serve God. And then you demand changes, beginning with yourself. Notice that Joshua doesn't say, but as for my family, as for my wife and kids, they're going to serve the Lord. No, he said, as for me, starts with me and my house. If you're not willing to make a change, then that is a you problem that is a bigger than what we're talking about here today. And it makes me wonder, have you really decided to follow Jesus? We're going to sing, I have decided to follow Jesus. It used to be a song we sang a lot for invitations. I have decided to follow Jesus. It's a simple but effective song. Have you really? Name the old gods in your heart. Name them. You know what they are. You know exactly what they are. Choose this day whom you will serve. And then take courage and lead. Let us pray. Father in heaven, we're grateful